Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Just looking in the Pakistani press, yet another U.S. drone strike kills 4 in the North Waziristan area. So that's from today, the 20th, even into the 21st local time in Pakistan. So Strauss-Kahn, if Strauss-Kahn needed entertainment, he could call Elliot Spitzer and say, hey, Elliot, what was that wonderful escort service you had there? I'm sure Strauss-Kahn has a black book of his own. He knows the numbers of all the dating services, so to speak. Doesn't need to chase after the chambermaid. Now, notice the head of the IMF, always from Europe, right? Sweden, Netherlands, all kinds of people represented. France, 4 times out of about a dozen. So the French have had the IMF for about a third of the time after the founding. Germany once. So between France and Germany, it's about 5 times. Right now, Merkel very concerned about the fate of the euro. Now, obviously, the approach by Merkel, Sarkozy is more bailouts and so forth. The U.S. wants to sweep even that aside. They want immediate chaos, immediate deflationary crash, sort of the libertarian program, right? Free market. Destroy the euro. Now, the U.S. seems to have a dialectical scenario here. First, they say the Europeans are all dirty bums. Let's get the third world in here. Let's get the developing sector. Let's get Latin America. Why should it be Europe? Why should they have this? That would generally mean a U.S. puppet, right, from some smaller country. But then, of course, the Chinese get into the act and say, yeah, that would be us. We're the largest shareholder. No. U.S. doesn't want that. Therefore, they're back to Europe now. Lagarde, right? This woman, the French finance minister. Since she's a woman, she's not going to be engaged in the same kinds of shenanigans as Wolfowitz and DSK and such people. So therefore, Lagarde, but it has to be an Anglo-American asset. Is it a setup? Is it piégé? DSK? A-t-il été piégé? Yes, of course, 57% of the French, 57% of Frenchmen can't be wrong. He was indeed trapped. So look at Lagarde's U.S. pedigree. It's probably up there to compete with Sarkozy's. Now, since we're talking about the euro, we want to keep our eyes, of course, on the fact that the U.S. has passed the debt ceiling at the beginning of this week, Monday of this week. The U.S. went over it, so that was, the 14th, 15th of May, and we're looking at the negotiations. We'll continue to follow that. The Gang of Six, the Crapo Commission, has collapsed, basically. 4 of these senators went from the BS Commission to the Crapo Commission. That is the Bowles-Simpson BS Commission to the Mike Crapo or Crapo Commission. But now this has fallen apart. That's because Coburn has Coburn has to quit, Senator Coburn of Oklahoma. This because he's part of the Ensign scandal. He is part of the dirty cover-up of the Ensign scandal. He is a part of the house where the family lives. Now, these are safe houses of fanatics here in Washington, D.C. So he was apparently given secret immunity by the Senate Ethics Committee, but the heat is on him, so he's got to get out of the public spotlight. But now, what should happen with the euro, in particular with Greece? Here is the general idea. You can't go home again. Thomas Wolfe was correct in the famous novel. You can't go home again. The idea that you can roll back the euro and go back to the world of 1999 or 1998 or 1997 is pure utopia. Wishful thinking, Wunschdenken. It makes no sense. You cannot. Why? Because as of 2007, 2008, you have a world economic depression. And that is the decisive thing that these people who want to roll back to the individual European currencies cannot seem to get into their heads. You're going to have to fight speculation of the type that has brought on this depression sooner or later. So why not fight it right now with a large base? Why not fight it within the euro? Whatever you can do outside the euro, you should be trying to do inside the euro and see where that goes, rather than say, we capitulate, we're going to let Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan destroy the euro. We're going to retreat to the individual national currencies and then try to fight from there. What will happen? Many people have pointed this out. Helmut Schmidt, this Greek economist, let's see what his name was, Yanis Varoufakis of one of the Greek universities. It's the obvious thing. If you go back from the euro and you get the drachma on the one side and the D-mark on the other, what's going to happen? Well, the same speculators who are attacking the euro will now begin to drive the drachma down into the inferno. They will drive it down to the center of the earth. They will get it so low that it can't go any further. You will get hyperinflation. You will get a hyperinflationary, stagflationary, hyperstagflation depression in Greece because the drachma will be worth literally zero. This will be done with credit default swaps in the ways that we've seen. What happens if there's a D-mark? The opposite. The same credit default swaps that will be used to attack the drachma will be used to speculate a la hausse, right? With the drachma, it's a la baisse, selling it short. With the D-mark, it'll be used a la hausse. They'll be buying it long, driving it into intergalactic space, driving it so high that German exports will be priced out of the world market, and you will have a deflationary collapse of the D-mark. So the idea that you can go back to the drachma on the one side and the D-mark on the other is a complete utopia. It's totally unrealistic. What you see from this is sooner or later you're going to have to face the fact that your problem is not the euro. Your problem is credit default swaps. Your problem, of course, is the European Central Bank and the various rules that they have. A young lady here from the French Parti de Gauche that we saw, what was her name? Let's see. She was on TV also on the France 24. Raquel Garrido of the Parti de Gauche points out that the rules of the European Central Bank make it illegal to give subsidized credit for anything. Well, that's obviously got to be changed. The European Central Bank has got to be Europeanized. In other words, you're going to have to give some real power to a real European Parliament. You're going to have to think about a real European executive, and they have got to issue credit, the amount of credit to be issued, how many trillions of dollars of credit in the euro you want to issue from your own European bank, not national bank, but continental bank, the European Continental Bank. Issue the credit at 0%, make sure that it flows into at 0% into productive engagements, your infrastructure program, your space program, your high-energy physics program, your biomedical research program, your export subsidies, your Hermes credits, your COFAS, and all the rest of that. Get those geared up. Force the European Central Bank to become a tool of economic development. But along the way, you're going to have to ban certain kinds of derivatives. Some you're going to tax with your Tobin tax, right? Your equivalent of the Wall Street sales tax, 1% tax on all financial transactions. Some of them, however, the credit default swaps and the collateralized debt obligations have got to be outlawed. They are so dangerous, so toxic, so intolerable that they've got to be outlawed. Now, you can say, well, we don't want to do that now. We want to go back to the drachma and the D-mark. You're begging the question. You're avoiding the real issue, and it's done for reasons of pure opportunism, needless to say, that the average person, backward, because that's what it means, will say, oh, I think the euro is the main problem, right? They don't see derivatives. They don't deal with derivatives every day. They see euro. So the point is, there is no way back. You have to have a solution that looks forward, and this means fight finance capital. Fight, yes. That means you, people in Germany. That means you, people in Greece. Fight finance capital, wipe out derivatives, tax speculative transactions, and you have a way of surviving. Because if you're not going to do that now, you're gonna fall back on the drachma. Your ability to do it is even less because you're just too small. Right? You're going to be swept aside. Those economies were already obsolete years ago. So we'll be back next week on World Crisis Radio. Keep in touch in the meantime at Tarpley.net and Webster G. Tarpley on Twitter. And if you don't know what else to do, get on Twitter and retweet the stuff I put out. Help me to be a top tweet